Hello students, in today's session we will take one more example of inheritance for better understand what is actually inheritance concept. Okay, so in today's lecture we will design two class. So name of first class is laptop. Okay, so laptop is our first class and we have to design one more class that is Samsung. Okay, Samsung laptop. Okay, and because Samsung laptop is also a laptop, so it is follows a relationship. And for inheritance we write like this, like inside a bracket we have to pass laptop. So by writing like this, Samsung laptop become a derived class and it derived from laptop class. So in this scenario, that laptop is behave like a base class, or we call it is a parent class, or we call it is a parent class. And that Samsung laptop is behave like a derived class, we call it is also like a child class, it behave like a child class. So these are the technical term. Maybe in some standard book you get derived class, and some standard book they use child class. Okay, so definitely laptop have some properties, and if you want to initialize that properties, so we have one very beautiful predefined function, that is init. Okay, so with the help of init we can easily initialize our instance variable. Okay, so definitely laptop have some features. Okay, so if you want to initialize it, so for that you have to use that init function. Okay, I already told you that self is not a keyword, so in place of self if you want to use like args, so that is also right. Okay, so we write args because that args will point to the current invoking object. Okay, we say that it behave like a this pointer. If you're from C++ Java, so it behave like a this pointer and it hold the address of current invoking object, or it point to the current invoking object. Okay, now if we want to initialize the laptop properties, like laptop has some features, like it has some processor, it also has some RAM and model number. Okay, so these are the properties of the laptop and it is common to all. Okay, and if you want to initialize it, so you can easily initialize by writing like this, like args dot processor is equal to processor. Next, args dot ram is equal to ram, and args dot model number is equal to model number. So in this case, that args dot processor and args dot ram and args dot model number is behave like a instance variable. Okay, and this processor ram and model number behave like a local variable. So don't be confused. If you think that both are same, no, both are different. args dot processor, args dot ram, args dot model number is behave like an instance variable, and that processor ram and model number is behave like a local variable. Okay, if you are from C++, then you can easily compare with that concept. Okay, so both are different. And if you are feeling confusion, if you are like confused in this scenario, so please change the name. Okay, so if you write like this, it also work properly. Okay, you will not get any error. Okay, you will not get any error. Okay, for better clarity I will change the name, but if you want to take a same name, there is not issue, because both are different. Because that pr ram and model number, that pr ram and model number is behave like a local variable, and that args dot processor, args dot ram and that args dot model number is behave like a instance variable. Okay, now if you want to display these instance values, okay, if you want to display these instance variable values, so for that we have to design our own instance method. Okay, so we have to design like a laptop display, laptop detail, the laptop detail. So laptop detail is our instance method, and we can easily display the detail by writing like this, like um, self self dot processor comma self dot ram, that is random access memory, and self dot model number. Okay, so in this scenario that laptop detail is behave like a instance method. Okay, now if we want to create the instance of Samsung laptop, okay, so if you want to create the instance of Samsung laptop, so you can simply write like this, like s1 is equal to Samsung laptop. So it will create, like line number 12 will create you. If you write like this, then it will create uh, object of Samsung laptop. Okay, and if you display the detail, so you can easily call one function, that is laptop detail. But first you have to pass the detail here. Okay, so what is the name of the processor? So name of processor is i5. Okay, and RAM is 8 GB, or if you want to write like this, that is also good, 8 GB, and model number is like 121. Okay, so if you run the program, our program perfectly work because it follow the concept of inheritance, and that laptop detail. Okay, because Samsung laptop has no function, but actually it follow the concept of inheritance, and in this scenario, that Samsung laptop is become a derived class, and it derived from laptop, so it is applicable to use the properties or method of laptop class, and that is the reason if you write s1.laptop detail, so you will not get any error. Okay, it perfectly works. But maybe a possibility now Samsung laptop have own properties. Okay, so if you want to make some own properties of Samsung laptop, so for that again we have to use that init function, and inside init first we have to pass uh, processor name and RAM and model number, and it has some special features also, so we write like this, like features. Okay, now, if you want to pass that processor, RAM and model to the base class, so for that you have to use that super function, super dot, and you have to call that base class in it. Okay, and inside in it you have to pass PR, comma, RAM, comma, model number. That model number. Okay, and if you want to initialize that feature, so for that you have to write like this, like self dot features is equal to, that is actually assignment operator, features. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Okay, and like features is it have GPU. Okay, and now if we run the program, okay, we will get error, that is string object has no attribute model num. Okay, actually it's okay, it's model, not model number, it's model. Not perfectly fine. And if we run the program, say object has no attribute model, so what is actually the problem? Okay, so we have to change to model num, and here we again change to model num. Okay, problem is I forgot that comma. Okay, if we run the program, so it perfectly work. But if we want to display that features also, so for that we have to design one more instance method, one more personal instance method for Samsung laptop. Okay, so we have to design by writing display. So display is a instance method of Samsung laptop. Okay, and inside that method we have to call a base class function. So for that we have to write it just like super dot display. Okay, and here I print features also. So for that we have to write it this like self dot features. Okay, not perfectly fine. And now in place of laptop detail, I want to use instance method of Samsung laptop. Okay, I will run the program. Super object has no attribute display. Okay, actually it's not display. That is laptop detail. So it will print the detail like it is i5, it have 8 GB RAM, model number is 121, and it has some extra features that is it has GPU. So I think you get better clarity how to use a super. Okay, and I think in place of if display, if we use laptop detail, so we will not get any error because that laptop detail is came from base class, that is laptop. Because Samsung laptop is in this scenario, Samsung laptop is a derived class from laptop. It behaves like a derived. It derived from laptop, so it is applicable to use the properties of laptop, and that is the reason if we use laptop detail, so we will not get any error. But if you use laptop detail, so you will get only detail like it is i5, 8 GB RAM, and 121. It not display the features. If you want complete detail, so you have to write it this like s1 dot, and you have to call this display method. Now it will print the complete detail. So I think you get a better clarity. Okay. Okay. So there is one more scenario of multiple inheritance, because if we talk about the multiple inheritance, because that concept is actually single level inheritance. Okay, that is the concept of single level inheritance. Now we will talk about multi level inheritance. So you can easily design. Okay, so if you want to design multi level inheritance, for that you have to write like this, like class that is multi label. Okay, Samsung tab, and Samsung tab will derive from, let us suppose it derived from Samsung laptop. Okay, now if you want to create object of Samsung tab, so you can easily create by writing like this, st1 is equal to and Samsung tab. Okay, and inside this you have to pass, that is like it use processor like AMD, anything. It use processor like AMD. It have 16 GB RAM. It have 16 GB RAM, and it have model number like 1112, and it have also have some features like it also have GPU. Okay, so and if you want to display the details, so you have to write like this like s1 dot display. So that is actually multiple inheritance. We run the program and check it work or not. It perfectly work. But that concept is multi-label inheritance. Okay, so we cover single level inheritance and multi-label inheritance. If we talk about multiple inheritance, so if we talk about C++, there is one problem of diamond access problem or ambiguity problem, and that is the reason that the multiple inheritance concept is not supported in Java. But in Python, we have a solution for that ambiguity problem. Okay, so to understand the concept, if you want to take a screenshot, so please take it. Otherwise, we move to next concept, that is multiple inheritance. Okay, so in this session, we already covered single inheritance and multi-label inheritance. Now we move to third type of inheritance, that is multiple inheritance. Okay, okay. So, okay, so third is multi-label, multiple inheritance. Okay, so for that we have to design one class, that is class parent. Class parent. Okay, and inside class parent there is one function like void. Oh, there is no use of void. Def, and the name of the function is type. Okay, so we have to write like this, like print. Okay, we have to change the parent to father, and inside that function we have to write father type function. Okay, okay, now we have to design one more class with name mother. Okay, and inside mother class we also have one function that is type, or we say that that is punishment function. Okay, so here we want to print mother type function, mother type function, or we call it that is a punishment function. Okay, okay, now suppose that these are two class, and now we derive now we make one more class with name child, and inside that class we have to inherit father and mother. So there's a problem in C++ that if we have like type function in both father and mother, then child will confuse which type function they want to call. Okay, okay. So we have to write pass here, and if we create the instance of child, so we write like this, like C1 is equal to child. Okay. So if you want to call that type function, so what happened in C++ and Java? That child is confused which type function they call, mother type function or father type function. So that is the problem of divided access problem. Okay, and that is the reason Java not support multiple inheritance directly. Indirectly it support with the help of interface, but directly it not support the concept of multiple inheritance. But Python will give solution for it. Okay, so if we call that function, it will call a father type function, because on the basis of order, if you write like if you inherit father first, so it will give priority to father. If you give priority to mother, okay, means that in order, if you write mother first, so it will give priority to mother. So now guess which type function it call mother type function. Okay. So Python will give solution for ambiguity problem, and that is the reason if you want to use multiple inheritance in Python, so it's applicable. It depends upon the order. Okay, on which order you inherit. Okay, if you write mother first, so it gives priority to mother. If you write father, so it gives priority to father. Okay, so we have solution in Python, but if we talk about Java, so Java not support the concept of multiple inheritance directly. Indirectly it support, okay, by using interface and class. So in today's section we cover single inheritance, multi-label inheritance, and multiple inheritance. Okay, so that's all of my today's session.